Right. So a 5-year degree will get a master's. One stream goes to social work, the other stream goes to management. A 4-year degree gives honors in social work, honors in management, but it will be called a bachelor's degree with honors in management. A 4-year degree of India, which is called bachelor's in social work honors, will have 1000 hours of field practice by 4th year. So that means they would have completed so much of practice by 4th year. A bachelor's degree in business management by 4th year should have also completed a decent internship, domestic, which means within India, and if possible, an international internship of a minimum of 3 months period during that time. So this is the dream I'm putting from the top level. My funnel is like this. So at the top is the 5th year degree, at the second level is the 4th year degree. Then you have a bachelor's degree at the 3rd year level. Because it is 3 years, in that 3 years, one would have completed at least 500 hours of field work in social work and at least one internship within the country for the business management group. At the 2nd year level, they would have done enough of understanding of community development, enough understanding of women and child welfare, enough understanding of some aspects of community work, so that by chance, if they get out at the end of 2nd year, they have a diploma with which they can go for Anganwadi work, they can go for a work connected with child line, they can go for a work connected with any other extension type of work for which jobs have to be found. While I say that, with 2-year diploma instead of a degree in management, it is slightly difficult for them to get a job in management. But they can do bookkeeping. They can do little bit of invoicing and accounting. They will be able to do a whole lot of computing oriented skills with which they can still survive, becoming an assistant to an accountant or an assistant to a bookkeeper or somebody who can manage to make something or the other. I'm sure in India, we don't need 5 layers of people to do all activities. 2 or 3 layers is good enough. But in a way, there are 2 or 3 places where people can go away. The idea also is something happens to a person after 3rd year, a family issue, can't go on, so you can get out of the degree and pick up pick up a graduation certificate and go away. 2 years later, he has got enough money, then he can come back and complete. This is a story. The second aspect of this is, I also want our fourth year bachelor's degree in social work students or bachelor's degree in management honors, they are eligible even to go overseas at the same level. Our Indian degree is always made two steps lower. When we come with BA honors, they say okay. If you just come with BA, they'll say no, you join a second year class here. Once you show you've done 1000 hours in social work fieldwork, automatically you are on par and at par for a master's degree. That is how we see. A third year degree is good enough for various other things. So this is the story. At the grassroots, I would like to see an opportunity for our young people between 18 to 23 to get up early, to do some physical exercise, to do some yoga, to take part in tennis or any such games which allow them to breathe, to sweat, and to become afresh. Compulsory. You don't need to be an achiever, but you need to be compulsorily involved in sporting activity. It is through that we want to bring in a little bit of discipline. It is through that we want to bring in camaraderie, good fellowship, good values. At the initial stages, in all our degrees, whether it is Satara, Mysuru, Andhra Pradesh, anywhere in the country, languages are also taught. I would like to give the option of learning Hindi, Sanskrit as the two main languages that they could study. Hindi, of course, will be taught in Hindi, but because Sanskrit has that script which is Devanagari, but if South Indians are not used to that, and other people are not used to that, and we suppose we get international students, we would probably teach Sanskrit also with utilizing a little bit of English or anything else. So make it a point to do that. So there is language, there is sports, there is yoga. We are not adding all kinds of other sports. We are not adding Olympics, we are not Olympic swimming pool, we are not adding to this because those are for other things. In India, the colleges, some of them very, reasonably private colleges, but poor colleges start from 1,000 rupees a month fees to there are colleges which charge 30,000 rupees fees. MSW colleges, some of them charge 2.5 lakhs per year plus hostel, another 1.5 lakh or something. When somebody can pay that much of money, he expects campus selection. He expects a decent job. And he expects either to be there or to go elsewhere and do it. In the next 10-15 years, it is my anticipation that India will be looked forward for not only to prepare first-class manpower for the country, but also to prepare manpower for the rest of the world. I'm not worried if some of our manpower goes away from the country to somewhere else. जहाँ पर जाओ, किसी की मददगार बनो, किसी का कुछ उद्धार करो. That's quite fine. So Indian diaspora does that. So that's the way I'm looking at it. So my task with you today, Manisha, is that I'll give you a couple of examples of what I have in a management syllabus and what I have in one of the latest schools of social work, their 5-year syllabus. It doesn't say much. So first you provide a skeleton for me where this and this can be approximately married together, partly, where they need to go away. अगर हम समझते हैं कि हम 50 स्टूडेंट्स के लिए कॉलेज बना रहे हैं, जिसमें से 25 स्टूडेंट्स सोशल वर्क के तरफ है और 25 इधर है, सब लोग योगा कर रहे हैं, सब लोग संस्कृत कर रहे हैं, बस इंटरवल हो गई, ये लोग इधर जाएंगे, ये लोग उधर जाएंगे. तो जाएंगे तो क्या पढ़ाएंगे? कॉमन किसके लिए आएंगे? अनकॉमन किसके लिए जाएंगे? तो अगर जाएंगे तो फिर what would be the possibility? अब देखिए, I'll give you an example. मेरा जो सोशल वर्कर ऑफ फ्यूचर होगा, वो सोशल वर्कर भी रहेगा, सोशल वर्कर मैनेजर भी बन सकता है, क्योंकि उसके he will have the capacity to organize, understand managerial processes, commercial processes, where to get money from, how to account, what to do, and everything else. So suppose I have to teach one course called General Management Principles, I can have a teacher, teach him for 15 hours, invest in him 15 extra hours, tell him what is social work all about, what happens at different levels, small agency, big agency, government level, planning commission level, state level, what all is happening, public administration, everything else. Talk through all of that. He understands, because he's already coming from a commercial point of view. So I will get an MBA to teach my boys both, but I'll re-educate an MBA to look at society. So when he gives an assignment to my 3rd year social work student, it will be social sector assignment. When he gives an assignment to the management student, it shall be about an industrial labor in a blades factory, in an ice cream factory, in Tata's, Birla's, whatever. So he makes that differentiation. When he talks about community development, he doesn't, but somebody else does. That person will talk about unorganized labor in management, organizing labor in management, labor welfare in management. But when it comes to social work, he'll talk about women and children working as construction labor. Is it correct? what should we be doing? A Lambada woman makes a road on Bangalore street with a child at the back like this. We take photographs, but nobody bothers. After that, she goes to Chhattisgarh. After that, she goes to somewhere else. आधार कार्ड, निराधार कार्ड, वो कार्ड, ये कार्ड, जुगाड़, पता नहीं, मुझे तो पता नहीं किसके पास क्या कार्ड है. So, that pathetic part which needs work at the grassroots without criticism. Country cannot be made overnight. Country cannot be changed overnight. But you can do what you can. And having done that, you can tell the country, this is what I did. I need you to do something more. So I want a positivist orientation and a positivist agenda. So with that orientation, I want you to look at the matters that I'll give you, construct these things, and produce them. It'll take 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. It's not a problem at all. Do it from 2 angles. Put your heart into it. You have been chosen beyond your job to do something for the country in which all of us would be involved, all of us would be interested. I've left the country, but I come every year. Sometimes I've come twice, come 50, 60 times. It's last 2 years COVID, so naturally I have not come, but I'm coming now. I'll probably be there for a couple of months. I'll also give you some websites to see. And I know that you will also bring your own creativity. You'll also bring your own understanding of having grown in Satara, small village which has become like a city, because villages को villages के लिए जीने का हक निकाल दिए, सबको cities बना दे रहे हैं. और villagers भी खुश हैं कि हम भी city बन गए, हमारे पास भी बस आ रहा है, हमारे पास भी गाड़ी आ रहा, खेती तो जारी है, खेती बाड़ी जारी है. तो it's most of our development is a kind of a lost in greed and in lust for something else, rather than be regenerated through contentment and finding of peace in the environment in which we live. One might say, look, it's okay for you to preach because you are in Australia. No, I'm not preaching from Australia. I'm preaching from India. I'm much more Indian probably than most other Indians. Whether it's in India or Australia, it's just the same. Values sometimes come a little late for some people. But at least they have come. So that's more important. And we have an opportunity now to create that sort of an environment back again. So I want this to blossom like this. When you look at a pyramid on the top, the 5th year, the top guy goes to the top. At the 4th year, he's at that level. At the 3rd year, he's at that level, 2nd year and everything. But the knowledge part is going from the top to the bottom. We are taking them from community to generic association. We'll be answering every line from the UGC perspective. There's 2 reasons. One, that we would want the central government and others to also participate in all of these processes and take care of what we are doing. And second, that we do want it to be a very classy affair altogether. How old are your children?
Sir, the elder one is in 10th and 15. 15-year-old, and another one is 13-year-old. She is in 7th.
Very good, very small. So that, in future, you will be thinking where to go, what to do, and all those things. The pressure at this point of time on the younger kids today is very, very high. By practice, we can reduce that pressure, increase the practice, increase what I would say, ability for people to work with their own self a little more. थोड़ा सा शांति स्वभाव लाना चाहिए और हमारी भी एजिटेशन कम होनी चाहिए कि हमारा लड़का को क्या होगा. लड़का ग्रेजुएट होगा, ग्रेजुएट होने के बाद नौकरी मिलना चाहिए, नौकरी के बाद छोकरी मिलना चाहिए, ऐसे जाते 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 we keep going. So in that whole process, I'm looking in terms of a meaningful education, which is like the lotus flower, able to come from that mud, flow very nicely, and imagine that enlightenment and the light that it can actually give. So that is basically what I am looking at, and hopefully that is what we will be answering through we are preparing a proposal for a new Maha Vidyalaya of its own. It starts with a single course or possibly 2 courses, but it contains a spirit of Nalanda in its own way. It contains the Jagriti that we require, the awareness that we require at this point of time in the country. It isn't about who is right, who is wrong. It is about, are you right? Are you doing right in the limited way that you have and you can? So that's my limited introduction to what we are about to start. And thank you very much for listening to this introduction.